I think what's groundbreaking right now are situations in which we take human know-how, human content expertise, and AI-based, robotic-based analytics and sensor, comprehensive sensor acquisition, and we marry the two. Cases where humans couldn't possibly figure out how something works, and robots don't have context, they don't have wisdom to know how something works, but they can collect immense amounts of data and then present it to humans in a kind of partnership, where that partnership together figures it out. And I'll give you an example that we're doing deeply right now. One of the interesting things about air quality is that we don't really understand exactly how local industry impacts local health in communities across the US. It's complicated because prevailing winds don't tell the whole story. It has to do with where are the inversion layers? When are the inversion layers? Which neighborhoods are affected most by, let's say, a coke plant that's refactoring coal into coke for steel making, or a paint plant? And then what are the ways in which neighborhood by neighborhood we can understand air quality, the actual building envelopes people live in, whether they have well-sealing windows or not, and then how they're impacted by that, and how do we change that? But to do all that requires this crazy concatenation of data. So we put up literally hundreds of sensors that we invent to measure volatile organic chemicals, what we call VOCs in the air, like benzene and toluene, as well as particulate matter. And those are really interesting robotic devices that do things like bounce very, very special laser diode light rays off the particles and then measure the time of flight to figure out how big the particles are. At the same time, as we're measuring all that, we work with NOAA, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Observatory, to measure and model exactly how turbulent air flows around buildings and in hills and hilltops. Because wind doesn't just move like one homogeneous mass. So we measure that stuff. Then we do machine learning by taking the measurements we're making of particulate matter or VOCs and the models of vortices and turbulent wind direction and put them all together. And the result of all that is you start to build a model that lets you predict day by day, where's the pollution going to be? When do we tell people not to run in the park? When do we tell people to keep their children in the house? And when can they go outside? And where should they go outside? And that kind of project where you take natural information and human behavioral information, combine it all, create predictive models, and then use the predictive models to estimate what's going to happen and give people some insight that helps them live better. That's kind of the name of the game.